Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we'll discuss about otitis media. So before that we need to understand anatomy and physiology of ear. So let's begin. Now, ear consists of three parts: outer ear, middle ear and inner ear. Outer ear has pinna, as you can see here, pinna or auricle, and external auditory meatus. Okay, then middle ear has eustachian tube and these three small bones, that is hammer, anvil and stirrup, or malleus, incus and stapes. These are collectively called as ear ossicles. Okay, and this is tympanic membrane, or it is also known as eardrum. It forms the border between the outer ear and the middle ear. Then this one is inner ear. Okay, so inner ear consists of two things, that is vestibule and vestibular apparatus and cochlea. Okay, so vestibular apparatus has vestibule and semicircular canal. Okay, and this has sensory organs for postural equilibrium, and this cochlea has sensory organ of hearing. Okay, and this sensory organs the inner ear has the endings for auditory nerve, that is eighth cranial nerve. It is also known as vestibulocochlear nerve. Okay, then so this is anatomy. Now next is what are the functions of eustachian tube? Eustachian tube has basically important function. Its important function is to equalize the pressure in the middle ear, which is needed for the proper transfer of sound waves. Okay, then if we talk about middle ear, as we concern about media, otitis media pertains to middle ear. So for that, middle ear resembles rectangular room. Okay, consider it as a rectangular room. So it has four walls, a floor and a ceiling. Now for that, upper, that is ceiling, is separated by a bone, and it separates the cavity from the brain above. Okay, and the inferior wall, that is the floor, it separates the middle ear cavity from the jugular vein and carotid artery. Then comes the four walls. What about four walls? So its outer wall means this one, it is a medial wall. It is formed by, as you can see, tympanic membrane. The inner ear, the medial wall is formed by the inner ear, and basically this opening here has two fenestra, the fenestra vestibuli and fenestra rotundum. Okay, and it is also known as round window and oval window, as you can see here. Okay, then next is the anterior wall, which is the opening of eustachian tube. Okay, and the posterior wall, the posterior wall is the mastoid antrum. Okay, posterior wall is formed by the mastoid antrum. Wait, uh, let me show this by figure. Okay, here. So this is the posterior wall. This is posterior wall. Here mastoid antrum. This is mastoid air cells. So this forms the posterior wall of middle ear, and this is the middle ear. This is anterior eustachian tube, and this one is tympanic membrane. Okay, wait. So this anatomy is completed. Now let's talk about physiology of ear, how ear functions, how do you hear. So the sound waves, how it's generated. First of all, hearing starts with the outer ear. When a sound is made, the sound waves or the vibrations or it travels the external auditory meatus, and it then strikes the eardrum. It vibrates the eardrum. Then from there, the there are as you know, after eardrums comes the auditory ossicles, so it then vibrates the ossicles, and after that it passes to the inner ear. Now there is a fluid in the inner ear, then it vibrates in the inner ear, and there is cochlea is there. Okay, so is this gets vibrated, and once the sound waves reaches the inner ear, they are converted into the electrical impulses. Okay, the electrical impulses sends these impulses, the auditory nerve send these impulses to the brain. The brain then translates these electric impulses as sound. Okay. Now about otitis media. So first of all, as the name suggests, otitis means inflammation of ear, and media is middle ear. Okay, so the name only says that otitis media is a group of inflammatory diseases of the middle ear. Okay. Then what about epidemiology? So peak incidence of otitis media occur between 6 to 12 months of life and declines after age 5. This otitis media is more common in children. Um, Mostly, the attack of otitis media is preceded by the upper respiratory tract infection. Okay, so why it is common in children? Because of eustachian tube. Eustachian tube in children is more horizontal. Okay, so infection in the nose is directly transmitted to middle ear via eustachian tube, as it is more horizontal and shorter. Okay, while in the adult, the infection chances of the infection are very less, because it is not horizontal and vertical, and it is a long one as compared to infant. So that's why it is otitis media is more common in infant or children, because of the eustachian tube. Okay. Now next, what are the causes or etiology? So in the etiology, there is decreased immunity due to HIV, diabetes, or other immunodeficiencies. There is genetic predisposition. Then anatomic abnormalities of the palate and tensor villi palatini. Then vitamin A deficiency. Then recent illness such as cold or sinus infection, as I told you earlier that it is preceded by upper respiratory tract infection. Then there are allergies like hay fever or sinusitis. Okay, passive smoke exposure. Then daycare attendance, because it is common, as the when a children gets admitted to a hospital or a clinic, they are exposed to other children who are already suffering from upper respiratory tract infection. Okay, so because of that they catch that infection, and they also get infected, and so this cycle goes on. Okay, so daycare attendance. Then using a pacifier. Now uh, in infant, it is common. Okay, because using a pacifier keeps the eustachian tube abnormally open. So if it remains open, then the infection easily gets transmitted from from the nasopharynx to the middle ear. Okay, so then lack of breastfeeding. Why this comes in the etiology? Because the lack of breastfeeding is associated with the IgA deficiency. Okay, and this makes the person more prone towards otitis media. Okay, then having history of GERD. Why this happens? Because in GERD the gastric contents trans the gastric contents travel from the stomach and stomach to the esophagus, and from the esophagus to the middle ear. How it happens? From esophagus directly to the middle ear, because of there is one window which I told you earlier, that is round window. Okay, so the contents, the fluid goes into the middle ear via round window, and this creates infection and leading to otitis media. Okay, then these all are the risk factors. Okay, now what are the pathogens causing the otitis media? So there are two basically, that is bacteria and virus, as you know. Now, which are the common bacterias? These are Streptococcus pneumonia, Haemophilus influenza, and Moraxella catarrhalis. Okay, and if I talk about viruses, then respiratory syncytial virus, influenza and parainfluenza virus, rhinovirus, adenovirus. Okay,